All right, this will be a hit piece on Ralph Chittams Sr. This guy bugs the absolute crap out of me. It wasn't so bad until I actually listened to the entire debate between Roland Martin and Larry Elder. Ralph Chittams and Lonnie Poindexter were the ones who actually were monitoring the debate and recording it, I guess, for prosperity. And Ralph Chittams reigned all over Roland Martin so much that, you know, I basically damn near got sick of listening to him. And I let him, well, I sent tweets out both to he and Lonnie Poindexter, just letting him know how I felt. Okay, then I gave it a rest. Now, Poindexter came back at me, and I went back at him. So that's another whole story, and I'm not even going to give that any time. But Ralph really bugged the crap out of me, and I basically let it go. I didn't follow up on it. I just saw a bunch of individual segments on the Roland Martin show, and I gotta tell you, if there's anybody that's in the Trump toilet more than Ralph Chittams, I haven't seen him yet. Now, I'm going to play a bunch of clips throughout the particular show. And it's not just that he's in the Trump toilet. For whatever reason, this guy is on the wrong side of most black issues, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to play the individual clips. Now, this first one, he starts off, in my opinion, being fairly okay, but then he gravitates into the I gotta kiss Donald Trump's ass, and nothing that he does is beyond the pale. Here we go.
Agencies have talked about the role Russia played and what they wanted to do. And with this NBC report, hearing from spies, hearing from actual intelligence, this takes this to a whole new level. Now you're seeing an increasing number of Republicans who are saying there has to be an investigation. Sarah Lindsey Graham of South Carolina said he also was hacked as well, in terms of Russia tried to hack his campaign. This should be alarming to anybody, forget party.
Well, if any foreign government attempts to, hack, influence the American electoral process, of course that should be a concern to everyone, regardless of party, because that's one of the underpinnings of this republic, free and fair and open public elections. So if there was something that happened, there should be an investigation.
But here's what's...
All right, now that I'm okay with. That was a good comment. All right, here's the next one.
Will be tough with Russia when, to this point, he has never said anything critical about Vladimir Putin.
He's coming to the inauguration thing,
Well, Donald Trump is going to do what's in the best interest of the American people because he is the president-elect and will be the president.
Hold up. If that's the case, why won't Donald Trump? You can't find anything where Donald Trump has been critical of Vladimir Putin. In fact, when he was on Morning Joe, when he was even challenged by Vladimir Putin killing journalists, Donald Trump pretty much blew that off. He literally will not say a critical word about Vladimir Putin.
No, he has criticized. Sir, I don't have.
He hasn't.
No, he has, but I don't have
he hasn't.
A Shelly or an iPad in front of me.
He
but
hasn't.
Donald Trump is.
Use your phone. He hasn't.
But Donald Trump is going to represent the United States of America.
But he has to give in.
All right, he just moved off of the subject. Donald Trump has never criticized Vladimir Putin, and Ralph is saying that he has, and if he had, he should be able to think of a point where he had. Otherwise, what he's saying is bullshit, which is exactly what it was.
Americans.
But he hasn't, but he won't even stand with Senate and House Republicans and say there should be an investigation in terms of Russia's influence on the election.
Well, I don't.
So if
like
he
I
wait-
said, I don't.
so if he won't do
Russia
it-
may have-
if he
Russia
won't
may
do
have
it-
acted,
if he won't do it
but
right now-
what was the effect?
No.
But that's the thing, we don't know. That's why there's an investigation.
The issue.
See, he just tried to change the subject to what was the effect. That wasn't the question, okay? And that wasn't the focus. And Ralph does that all the time.
Is not what was the effect. The fact of the matter is, when you have intelligence agencies, and now you have NBC News reporting, where they have actually spies and others stating this, and still to this day, the president-elect will not condemn that, will not endorse investigations. That's the problem.
Well, the funny thing for me is everybody's all upset because
Okay, here comes Ralph. Now he's going to deflect completely away from this and bring up the Clintons.
Russia, may have hacked into our systems and
shouldn't be.
whatever.
We shouldn't be.
Wait a second.
May have.
But nobody was critical of President Obama when he took millions of dollars and tried to
I apologize. He brought up Obama.
lose the election for
Okay,
Israel.
let me
We have to criticize across the board.
me say it
If it's
again.
wrong
No,
going from
no,
A to B,
let me say it
it's
again.
wrong going from B to A.
Ralph, you're not going to play that little shift game of, well, when Obama did this. No. The president-elect, Donald Trump, refuses to endorse congressional investigations of Russia's impact. That's the issue. That's the issue.
Well, if you want to make it that narrow, then fine.
That is the issue.
See, there he goes. Now, if you want to make it that narrow, fine. That is the issue, Ralph. But you don't have a defense for it, so you do what most Republican operatives do. You try to deflect away from the topic that you know that you are in a losing position on. All right, here, okay. Now this is on specifically on Trump. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm going to bring up in a moment where Ralph is just contrary to, I would say, black mainstream thought on a bunch of issues. Okay, and here's Ralph again. He's going to be posed with a question of Trump's credibility in this, and he's going to try to shift it over to Jill Stein. Here we go.
Ralph is casting doubt on his own credibility because if he's unwilling to do so, it causes people to say, why? And that
Nothing to do with it. The credibility issue is something that honestly, this is going to be a shift because this is what this whole thing with Jill Stein and this nonsense.
Okay. All right. No, hold up. This has nothing to do with Jill Stein. This has nothing to do with Jill Stein. Nothing. All right. Coming up.
All right. See, and there, again, that's all Ralph basically does because he's normally on the losing side of most arguments. All right. Let me jump to another section on Ralph.
This had nothing to do with Jill Stein. Nothing. All right. Coming up. Ralph, stop. It got nothing to do with Jill Stein. Come on, bro. Stop. Okay? If you don't want to deal with the issue, just don't say anything. Don't just throw out Jill Stein. Don't throw out Jill Stein. Okay, gotcha. Folks. Why are national black Republicans calling this out?
I don't speak for every black Republican, just like you don't speak for every black Democrat.
Well, first of all, one, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. That's first. Two, I'm also not a party official like you are. And so have you, well, how about this here? Because I asked you before, have you called a meeting of fellow black Republicans and say, we need to come out and condemn this?
Now, what we're doing right now, honestly, is we're in the process of building a government.
Okay.
That is an excuse, okay? That's an excuse. They're talking about what's going on in North Carolina. I'm going to do a separate video on that. But this guy's been on Roland Martin's show before. And I forgot what the actual subject. Oh, it was voter suppression in North Carolina. That's what it was. And Roland Martin asked him if since he is, I guess, a Republican elected official in the party itself, Roland Martin asked him what he and the other black Republicans were going to do about it. Had they come out and made a statement? Had they even had a meeting about it? Now, this is going back at least 2 to 3 months. Ralph, at that point, said, no, they had not had a meeting, and he wasn't sure, or he gave some mealy-mouthed answer. Now, his answer is going to be that he, Ralph Chittum, and the black Republicans are in the middle of putting together an administration. And that is a goddamn lie, because Donald Trump doesn't have him or all of the other black Republicans involved in helping him to put together his administration than a man in a goddamn moon.
At the
The
national
answer is no.
y'all did
The answer is no. And also, I asked you last time, Ralph, when were y'all as black Republicans were going to publicly stand up and call out voter suppression, and y'all still haven't done it. And what I'm saying is this here. This is shameful, despicable, is diabolical, and I don't care who you are, that is not American. Coming up next.
All right, now here's another instance where Ralph jumps on the fact that the Defenders of Truth and Justice have put out a travel advisory for black people traveling through the city of East Point, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. Watch Ralph's deflection into the age-old white supremacist position of bringing up black on black crime. Check this out.
Pretty novel idea, issuing a travel advisory. Of course, we saw the Bahamas issue a travel advisory to Bahamians coming to the United States when it comes to police brutality. This is sort of a little different.
This is very different, but if you're going to put out an advisory for that, then you need to put out a travel advisory for all of the other communities where you have black people killing black people at horrific rates. Don't go into those communities.
You want to know what's different about those communities is that these are agents of the state that are paid with taxpayer dollars that are still brutalizing everyday citizens.
Dead is dead.
And
honestly, I'm more afraid of Putin and Ray Ray than I am.
Well, I don't know.
You should take up that cause.
I drove 2,000 miles from DC to Mobile, Alabama, didn't take interstates, took state routes, all throughout Alabama, Tennessee. I ran into none of this racial stuff that everybody keeps saying is so prevalent.
Yeah, that's probably because you had a full tank of gas and didn't get out your car until you got to your destination, because it's out there. Now, it's not as crazy as some people would have you think, but I will tell you this. You do not want to be traveling through East Texas at night and have your car break down. And I'm talking about on 20 heading east going towards Louisiana. I'm specific about mine.
So you have avoided racism your entire life, and you're in the Republican Party as one of the few black Republicans we have ever met.
Where black on black crime is through the roof, and we have black people being killed and dropping like flies.
See, and I love it when they use that black on black crime is through the roof, right? And they said 93%, the FBI stats now, 93% of crime against black people is perpetrated against black people, where they never want to bring up that 84% of crime against white people is perpetrated against white people. The bottom line is crimes are committed where you live. So if you live if you're a white person and you live in the middle of a bunch of white people and crime is going to occur, odds on favored, that's going to be another white person that committed that crime against you. Same thing for a black person. If you live in a black neighborhood and a crime is going to be committed against you, odds on favorite, it's going to be a black person that committed that crime against you. So when they bring up this black on black crime, they never want to bring up white on white crime. Now, yeah, there is a 9% differential, okay? And that's only because there are more white people that are willing to live in black neighborhoods than there are black people that are able or allowed to live in totally white communities. Okay.
If black people dying is important to you, then you should still be able to take up this issue and say, yes, the state police officers who are sworn in to do what? Protect and to serve. right?
Everyone.
So they should not be beating up citizens, murdering us. Is
I
that
have a
correct?
problem
So if
with
you
the
care about,
militarization of our police departments.
if you care about black people dying,
they're
then actually you
militarized.
should care about it across the board.
But your first
which
reaction
includes
can't
this
go to
example
black
as
on black
well.
violence because
Your
if you
turn.
look,
Well, we're talking
black on
about
black,
this travel
and
advisory.
what I'm telling you is though, black on black violence is not like there's not white on white violence. We know that when communities, particularly communities that live amongst each other, there is more violence amongst that community. And I think I would have rather.
If they're going to issue a
No,
travel
you-
advisory
no,
to
you were gonna
East
take
Point,
that issue
then
and
you
just
need
said
to
there
issue a
should have
travel
been accountability
advisory for
police
the other ones
officers,
too.
not reference-
See, but Ralph missed the whole point, and the lady on the left made it. Yeah, there's crime, black on black, white on white, whatever, but they're issuing the travel advisory because these are paid government employees that are perpetuating violence on black people coming through their town. That is the entire focus. And Ralph consistently deflects away from that and onto the normalized or the normal Republican white supremacist talking points. All right, here's another exchange where Ralph gets called on something and then deflects.
You don't get to throw out facts. Not
I
even
do
facts. You
throw out
don't get to
facts.
throw out misinformation about our communities while doing nothing. You have done nothing.
You don't know what I've done.
Well, tell me. I would love to
And
know.
to
I
sit
ask
here
every time
and
I'm
to
on
throw
the
an
show.
accusation like that,
What have you
it's
done?
just condescending
What have you
and
done?
insulting.
What have black
Tell us.
Republicans done?
We're
We would
all
love to
ears.
know. We're all ears.
I'm not going to sit here and defend myself to you after you just
Actually,
throw out an
you just-
insult.
See, and that's your standard. That's your standard. He hasn't done jack shit for the black community, but now he's going to turn around and say, "Well, because you insulted me, I'm not going to say anything." Well, hell, I just sent that motherfucker a tweet. Okay, actually, I sent it to Roland with a copy to him, asking Roland to ask him what the hell he and the black Republicans had done for the black community. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not holding my goddamn breath about this one.
I'm not going to do it.
Yourself.
Well,
Coming up next.
You don't know what I've done.
Coming up next.
See, yeah, and the reason we don't know what he's done is because he hasn't done jack shit. All right, here I think is going to be the last one. Now, in between me putting these things together, I was thinking about it, and I've come to the conclusion that Ralph is an emotional person, and he tends to run off at the mouth without thinking. And this particular clip or section is going to point to just that. Check this out.
Ralph, do you think Donald Trump will appoint someone to the Supreme Court in an effort to roll back Roe v. Wade?
I hope he does appoint conservative justices, yes.
Of course.
But is there any guarantee that he's going to do it? As you pointed out, no.
So do you want to see Roe v. Wade roll back? I mean, got rid of?
I think there needs to be more restrictions placed on access to abortions, yes.
Exactly. I don't really care what Ralph thinks about this because he doesn't have one.
Then I don't want to hear any woman
Then when
talk
we
about
start
anything
regulating
that's
what you do
regulated
with
or
your
dealing
body.
with men. If men
we
can't have
know.
opinions regarding anything that's related to
Exactly, we
women,
got
then anything related to men, you all need to be quiet
that's
about.
Is that a
Don't-
deal? Can we shake on it?
Please.
See, and that's the whole point. Women normally don't talk about men's reproductive issues, but Ralph is taking the position that, and he absolutely, well, at least I don't think he has one, he doesn't have a uterus. So on something like this, in my opinion, you need to defer to women. Now, black women, I guess, and I don't know stats on this one, but I would guess that black women are on the side of Roe v. Wade. He, on the other hand, is not. But for him to say that he doesn't, because he doesn't believe that the women should have control over their own bodies, that they shouldn't be able to say anything about men's bodies, which they don't. So his statement, his argument there is a non-starter.
Can't.
Because I would would love for black men to stop commenting on women's bodies without talking about their role that they can play to actually stand up
and
for
keep
us.
us safe constantly. I agree with Hope. I think it's so funny that we continue to allow men who don't have a uterus make decisions for what women do with their body. And I think what's funny is that you have the Republican Party who constantly talks about pro-life, but they don't think about pro-life throughout the course of an individual's life. That means when they're in high school, when they're in college, when they're stopped by the police.
The right to vote, the right to hold office.
From beginning to, I am actually anti-death penalty. That's how pro-life I am.
Michelle?
So,
That is not, in my opinion, being pro-life, being anti-death penalty. That's bullshit. Being pro-life is pro-life from the point that the person, in my opinion, gets here to the point that they make their transition and everything in between. The Republicans don't give a damn, as far as I'm concerned, about what happens once that kid is born. They do not look out care of babies. They don't give a damn. Then they want to talk about personal responsibility. Well, the personal responsibility was to bring that child into the world in the first place. But again, Ralph, he just starts running off at the mouth without thinking and without giving any kind of consideration to, in this particular case, the women who actually have to deal with this situation. Anyway, that's just my small hit piece on Mr. Ralph Chittam Sr. This guy is basically out of touch.